The What It Takes Radio Company is proud to present the program that will help you truly be world class. The world needs your story, so it's time to be a podcaster. And today, could it be that the radio robot is out after your job or will replace you? Well, how can that be? Well, let me tell you the story about right now and what artificial whatever is doing for you. Greetings, my friends. That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, my friends, and now fellow broadcasters. And perhaps even more than that, a broadcaster professional who wants to be world class, wants to be one of the best. And we're going to tell, hopefully, some stories that might inspire you to do that, perhaps give you some instructions that can help you make a path to be one of those persons, and then to come alongside of you as you get really good. And then you may not need an instructor anymore. You may not need to take a course anymore, but you will always need somebody else. And I'd like to audition for that. Now, this What It Takes Radio is one of the enterprises that I am involved in. As an entrepreneur, I have multiple streams of income and possibilities, and so should you. But this is one of them, What It Takes Radio. But I also am working on the thing that I have done for almost 30 years now, and that is as a business performance coach. I come alongside business executives, business leaders, and primarily business entrepreneurs, and I'm full of it in many ways that I have through scars and stars and stories from those I've helped. I've oftentimes been able to help people really make a better life and a better situation and build a better business. We simply call it the coaching experience. And when I did that, I had a story that I often told, kind of a make-believe story question, and I would say something like this. Now, this dates me, so you can put it back into that time, but then, of course, since you're much younger than me, you can put it into present times. I used to say something like this: what do Luciano Pavarotti and Tiger Woods have in common? That's right. What do Luciano Pavarotti and Tiger Woods have in common? Well, of course, it was meant to get you because Tiger Woods was the upcoming, and at that time, star golf professional. And Luciano Pavarotti was a big, not necessarily athletic for sure, except that if you understand what singing is all about, oftentimes you will discover that singing is, in many ways, an athletic accomplishment. But he's the world-famous tenor. What do they have in common? Well, then, of course, I answered the question. I said, hey, first of all, they're the very best at what they do. That's right. Nobody doubts that. They love what they do. And of course, one of the reasons they're the very best at what they do, they love what they do. And they make a lot of money because of what they do. Everybody would agree, they certainly do. And the fourth is, and they both have coaches. That's right. Even though they're the very best, and usually they are probably better at what they do than the man or the woman who is coaching them, they still know that it's possible to have, and in fact, it may be required that you have an ongoing mentor or coach who comes alongside of you. At that same time, Michael Jordan was also one of the best basketball players in the world, truly a world-class professional. And he one time said that he would quit the Chicago Bulls if Phil Jackson, his coach, left the game. Now, Phil Jackson was a good basketball player, turned out to be a great coach, but he wasn't anywhere near the basketball player that Michael Jordan was. But he knew that having the coach, having Phil as his coach was vital. So as I oftentimes put out in that performance, the very best have coaches. And so what I want to do today is tell you that if you want to be good at podcasting, it's you want to be good at broadcasting, podcasting, you want to be good at anything. Yes, you can take an online course and you can work diligently at it. And most people don't. They don't know how to work diligently with an online course. And you could do a podcast. But could you become a broadcaster? It's not just doing radio, it's becoming a broadcaster, where it becomes second nature to you, that it defines not just what you do, but who you are. And of course, I hope you understand now that's what I'm trying to help you do. Millions of people are going to try to do a podcast, and they're going to try and do it by buying a $1.95 or a $195 course. And some of them are going to try and do it for nothing. They're just going to put themselves together, try and figure it out, and they're going to try and look at the free YouTube tutorials, which can be very helpful. By the way, I don't say anything about that. They can be very helpful for lots of things, and they can do it themselves. But eventually, it will be good for you to have somebody to be a coach. And that's why we would like to establish a relationship. Now, I said you have to make a decision now. Do you want to do a podcast or you want to have a podcast? They're very different talent skills. And they're very, very different in what you have to do. And there's a spectrum between the two, how that you can combine it in many ways. As I said, there are people who literally want to be taught so they can do it all themselves, and there's people who don't want to be taught at all. All they want to do is have somebody like me or someone from my company be there and turn on the microphone, and they're going to talk, or they're going to be in front of the perhaps the Zoom experience, or just even on a telephone, and they want to talk, and then they want someone to put together a great podcast for them, put it on their platform, and there they are. They're on the radio. So there's the decision that you're all at right now. However, I have to be honest with you right now and tell you that this is increasingly, it looks like the possibility. Now, it shouldn't frighten you, but it will frighten many people. Now, I get all of those magazine and internet newsletters about real radio. The people who have the towers and the transmitters and the microphones. And, they spend $100,000 to do 100,000 watts for perhaps a yearly electric bill, if they can even get that little of it. They're the ones who have real radio stations, brick and mortar and steel radio stations. And of course, they're very expensive. They're very expensive. It takes a lot to maintain them. And so if you want to make money, you're going to have to pay talent, and you're going to have to pay them well if you want them to be good. And then you're going to have to maintain all of the costs and expenses of all of that infrastructure and all of that equipment. And then you're going to have to pay somebody to go out and sell commercials or raise money for you, because it's going to take a lot of money for you to put that program and put that radio station on the air. And then you hopefully will have something left over for you. And there are many people who are still doing that, and they're doing it pretty well. But increasingly, it is a struggle, because a lot of the talent that would normally be trying to be on their radio station is now just, like me, starting their own radio station. And some of the people, we've talked about Tucker Carlson, he'll probably join some of the other people who were fired from his employ, the same employer. And they then went on and using the YouTube, perhaps using a internet or a Sirius XM channel, or just their own podcast, are doing far better and have a life. They don't have to be up fully dressed in front of a camera or in front of a microphone at 9 o'clock in the evening. They don't have to do that. And the people who watch them don't have to have a specific time to go and watch them or try and fish it out of the recording DVD. They can just simply listen to it whenever they want, and the person who did the program can do it whenever they want, as long as they make whatever deadlines they have for each day's or each week's production. But recently, we've all heard of artificial intelligence, and we've tried to warn you and tell you that artificial intelligence is one thing, but there's also AV, an artificial voice, and that's really getting good. Then there is artificial design or artificial art, which is putting together, hey, if you want to have a design, nice logo, you can pay a graphic designer to do it. Or now there's artificial intelligence which will do a great job. There are so many ways that what used to be creative work for people is now being done by the robots, the bots. And here's the recent development. Radio World just recently tells about the company named Futura, and they are now getting to the point where, yes, obviously, if you want to get all of the stuff you can talk about, that's where artificial intelligence is great. Here's a question I have. How do they mine for Bitcoin? We talk about mining for Bitcoin, and they say it takes lots of electricity to do that. I read about that. Well, what are they doing? When they're mining for Bitcoin, what are they doing, and why does it take so much electricity? Well, of course, I can simply ask ChatGPT or Copycat or Copymatic or whatever they are and say, do a program on what it means to use so much electricity to mine Bitcoin. And you know what? I'll have it may be even so good that I can actually just read that script and read it with expression, and I've got a program on a subject of interest to me and to other people. But it's gone past that. Now, it could be, and this has been true for a long time, that your radio station is not really on the air. It is all programmed. It's all from satellite links. It's no one's there. It used to be if you had, late night radio, and if you wanted to make it sound real, somebody had to be up at 2 o'clock in the morning doing that. I've been in those situations. But now the robots are coming, and in many, many ways, it can take, the weather comes in, the weather report comes in, some of the news comes in, some of the content comes in, and guess what? Robot radio robot can actually put together what will be a more than acceptable radio program. Well, does that mean that you will disappear as a podcaster? Certainly could be. But if you're doing what I insist that you do, is that you become unique and creative so that there isn't a robot, there isn't an idea, there isn't anything quite like you out there, because you see, the AI, AV, all of that artificial stuff has to come from something that is already out in the internet universe that it can copy, it can steal, it can use, collate, whatever it does, which it does quite well. You have to be unique. You have to be the one who's different. It's not just doing a different program, it's being not only different by degree, it's being different in kind. And that's your advantage, and that's your opportunity. Other than that, as I oftentimes said, it is sad, but I could go to a radio station and find out that for the most part, the radio station is in a closet with a computer. and satellite links, and that's all it was for the local radio station. Now, I just introduced that because that is the current breaking trend in the business we're in, which is radio. Now, not video as much yet, but certainly radio. When it's just a voice and content, that can very easily be created and put into the workings, and the robot can do it. And he or she can do it well, and they might be able to do it better than you. Oh my goodness. What's going to happen? Well, truly, as I oftentimes say, right now, if you want to make a difference in the world, or if you have even higher aspirations, you want to try and make a little bit of a different world, you're going to have to be unique and creative. You're going to have to be filled with creative power. You're going to have to be in touch with God so that you are inspired and inspirited in many ways. You really are going to have to be a very different kind of person, able to do many different things. And I want to help you do that. As I say, it's about connecting with your audience and reaching your audience and engaging your audience and entertaining your audience and getting your audience to trust you and respect you and follow you and maybe even like you, maybe even love you. And then perhaps for them and for you to create a bit of a different world. And then perhaps even to have a touch of immortality. That's what we wish we could do. And we're going to try and help you do on the What It Takes radio company. Because we think we have what it takes to help you be a person who can tell your story on the World Wide Web radio, do it well, and truly be first class. And hopefully that will lead to a lot of first class income in your life in terms of friendships, relationships, influence, maybe the ability to even make so more than average amount of money. We'll see where it goes. Who knows? It's an adventure. And that is how life is going to have to be lived these days. If you want to be in the radio, yep, the robots are coming. And for many of those people in the radio, the robots are going to get them. But that doesn't have to be you. And we can help you. We're the kind of coach who can help you make sure that you stand up and stand out and have standing in your community and with your audience that truly is first class, world class. That's the deal. That's the aspiration. And in the words of Star Trek, let's make it so. Stay in touch with me. Again, reach out to me, stanhouston@gmail.com, stanhouston@gmail.com. I can help you. I will help you, and it will go well for you. And finally, remember, the good people in the world are counting on you. So be a strong voice. Indeed, be a strong voice. Bye for now. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your time. We truly want you to be world class, and for this to be an experience that can be somewhat life-changing in terms of the opportunities and possibilities. So reach out to us to see if we can help you. stanhouston@gmail.com, stanhouston@gmail.com. Our YouTube channel is Reaching Your Audience, How to Truly Be World Class. And you can even try and leave a message. We'll get back to you, 520-664-7002 USA. And this program is another service to you, just for you, from the What It Takes radio company.